Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to one of the first educational breakdowns on the crypto market, where we're going to start covering every single major crypto in the space and ultimately what my prediction for its price and its network and its protocol to be in 2023. So today we're going to be looking at Stellar Lumens, everything that's going on with Stellar, where it stands in 2023, and where we think the price might go to potentially. Again, as a disclaimer, this is not financial advice. This is purely educational. Do your own due diligence and trade at your own risk. All right, so Stellar Lumens, let's give a bit of an overview for people that may not be familiar with XLM. So Stellar Lumens is an open source, decentralized blockchain network that aims to facilitate fast and low cost cross-border payments. The network is designed to enable seamless transactions between different currencies, making it an attractive solution for businesses and individuals seeking to send and receive money across borders. The native cryptocurrency of the Stellar network is called Lumens XLM, which serves as a bridge currency for facilitating exchanges between different fiat and digital currencies. So for those that understand what a bridge currency is, essentially, if you want to transfer, let's say, US dollars from the United States to euros in France, then you could use Lumens as an intermediary where you convert the dollars to lumens, you send the lumens, and it gets there nearly instantaneously and clears, and then can be converted into euros without much change to the actual currency price, latency, or having it need to wait for confirmation for days by your bank. So Stellar Lumens consensus mechanism is based on a federated Byzantine agreement, FBA, algorithm that enables fast and efficient processing of transactions. In addition to payments, the Stellar network also supports the creation of digital assets and smart contracts. Overall, Stellar Lumens aims to democratize finance and create a more inclusive global economy by providing fast, secure, and affordable financial services to everyone. Stellar Lumens has also been around for many years, since around the time of Bitcoin and Litecoin first coming out. It's kind of an OG. It's gone under a lot of rebranding. It's been very diligent about its partnerships and who they work with in integrating with banks, as well as point of sale for P2P transactions. They've been doing a lot over the years, and even though their token price has moved very slowly, it does move, and in the right market and with the right sentiment, it can do a lot of good things. And I'm very excited for it starting in March, which is why we're going to talk about Stellar. Looking at some of the use cases for how Stellar can be applied include in the financial industry through global currency access, compliance, tools, and more. Through remittances, where Stellar can reduce the friction and cost of traditional financial infrastructure. Through cross-border payments, where it can help make cross-border payments more fast and efficient. With exchanges, creating more compliant on and off ramps that grant exchanges access to local currencies. More with on and off ramps for aid, delivering instant, transparent digital aid at scale to foundations and organizations, to causes, to situations like what's going on in Ukraine, all kinds of scenarios. For CBDCs, which is one of the biggest potential use cases, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and asset insurance, helping tokenize real-world value on the network and creating that insurance you might want for real-world assets. So lots of different use cases, lots of potential for Stellar in 2023. Again, one of the biggest being CBDCs. If you go to the Stellar website, they have an entire guide on understanding what CBDCs are. And this is aimed at regulators, policymakers, governments, very large institutions, agencies that have a bit of a say in types of policy and legislation that gets put out. So if you want to read this and their take on CBDCs, go for it. It's on the website. To get an idea of the CBDC landscape as well as the guide, I'll go ahead and read you a little bit of what they put on the website. So in their point of view, what a CBDC is, it's the evolution of digital money that's taking hold as policymakers and central bankers explore the idea of government-backed assets on blockchain called central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. More than 90 countries are either researching or developing CBDCs. Many see the direct advantages for their citizens and economies, decreasing dependence on cash, creating less friction in international payment channels to better financial access and programmability options. CBDC design presents a myriad of decisions and challenges that policymakers need to weigh as they chart their course for the digitization of money. Decisions that will shape the future global financial system. So what we're talking about with CBDCs is being able to take something, again, like the US dollar and create a digital version of the US dollar, much like a cryptocurrency, but think of it as a state-backed sovereign cryptocurrency. And there's a lot of potential drawbacks of this. It's a lot of scary sentiment that has floated around CBDCs for a while, such as being able to survey what you do with your money, tracking everywhere you send it. They give the excuse of KYC and AML because of terrorism, but in reality, they know maybe a bit more than they need to know. You deserve privacy and the right to privacy with your money and what you do with it and where you send it and why you use it for certain things. And last thing you want in a society is capital controls, because that's just what leads to dictatorships, leads to authoritarian control, leads to the collapse of democracy. So it's something we want to stay away from. Now, the Stellar Development Foundation, as a nonprofit organization, supports the use of the Stellar Network and has developed a comprehensive guide for policymakers to consider the technology options for CBDCs. And Stellar has been at the World Economic Forum. They have been, they're at Davos. They are constantly talking to central bankers, to the IMF, to the Fed. They've worked on many, many different pilot programs around CBDCs, and they really are looking to be one of those fundamental layers to help make that possible, as well as Ripple, Hedera Hashgraph, Algorand, a number of others, which we will talk about soon at some point. But yeah, Stellar has a huge vested interest into the future of CBDCs. To kind of give an idea of what some of those partnerships look like and the activity, they've recently been doing a CBDC pilot with the Central Bank of Ukraine. They did a CBDC pilot successfully with the Brazilian real in their central bank. They've been working with the European Central Bank, the IMF, and MasterCard, multiple U.S. financial institutions, and probably the Federal Reserve as well. So they've been very active in doing this over, the past half decade. And they will be one of those main blockchains and protocols that could potentially get tapped to serve as that backbone for a CBDC or into that system. The Stellar Lumens applications are also pretty broad. Some notable ones include MoneyGram, which has been a partnership for quite a while now, where they're enabling P2P payments cross-border. They have partnerships with Circle, where they do payments and treasury infrastructure. They have partnerships with CoinMe, where they're doing buys and sells for crypto using cash and debit card. They have a recent one called AirTM, where they're facilitating online USD wallets for Latin America, which is really great because I live in Colombia. I'd love to see an easier way to onboard, offboard money into crypto here. Astrify, for generating custom stellar.toml files. Command Robotics, where they're working on cloud robotics fleets. Like, they're getting into IoT and AI and robotics as well. Like, there's a lot of different fields. It's very early still, but this kind of gives an idea of some of the few partnerships that they're working on that will likely pan out even more over 2023. So I'm excited to see what other news comes out, what other partnerships and applications. Now, one of the most important things we're going to talk about with Stellar that you need to seriously pay attention to is ISO 20022 and the fact that they're one of 7 cryptocurrencies out of thousands of cryptocurrencies that are actually compliant with ISO 2022. Now, the SWIFT system has been around for like 50 years. And starting, I believe, the 20th of March, ISO 222 will completely replace that with a new standard. So let's read about it and what it is. So ISO 222 is a global standard for financial messaging that aims to standardize the format and content of electronic data exchange between financial institutions. It provides a common language and syntax for financial messages, enabling interoperability between different systems and reducing complexity and costs associated with multiple message formats. ISO 222 is designed to support a wide range of financial transactions, including payments, securities, trade finance, and foreign exchange, among others. The standard is managed by the International Organization of Standardization. It's funny, there's an organization for standardization, ISO, in collaboration with the financial industry, and it is widely adopted by banks, financial market infrastructures, and corporations around the world. The adoption of ISO 222 is expected to increase efficiency, reduce errors, risks, and enhance transparency in financial transactions starting in March 2023, I believe the 20th of March. So in the middle of the month, this is going to happen, and it's going to give all major institutions and governments, corporations around the world, I think 3 years to fully transition, but it starts this month. And what's notable about ISO 222, again, is the fact that it mentions which cryptocurrencies are actually compliant. And I believe there's only 7 that are officially compliant and 2 that are leading, that being Ripple XRP and Stellar Lumens. Now, given the fact that Ripple is in a major lawsuit with the SEC still, we have no idea what's going to happen, how that's going to play out, who's going to win, who's going to lose. And a lot of financial institutions in the US have come out and very vocally spoken about their support for Ripple. And if Ripple gets through it, they will immediately be working with Ripple. If Ripple doesn't, then that's a huge setback for Ripple Labs. So given the fact that Stellar Lumens is the other option and they're just as good, and I believe the founder for Stellar Lumens used to be a part of Ripple and left to create his own thing. So there's a lot of similarities between Ripple and Stellar Lumens. And if Ripple isn't able to execute, I guarantee you, especially while they're in this lawsuit and Stellar is clean, they will be able to execute. So that is a huge reason why I think Stellar is just gunning for a chance to jump in price. More recent news includes the World Economic Forum launching Crypto Sustainability Coalition, a crypto sustainability coalition with Stellar Lumens. Stellar is also one of the few cryptos that is part of ISO, like we talked about, and they can work with CBDCs, very critical. We talked about Stellar's use with the Brazilian Central Bank to mint a digital real, which is a huge deal, huge, massive deal. I'm surprised more people aren't talking about that. Stellar also announced the launch of the Stellar Asset Sandbox quite recently, where you can issue, mint, and burn assets, and you don't even need to know how to code. Huge if you want more adoption. And Stellar is innovating something called pull mode, which increases the TPS, transactions per second, by 72% thanks to this superior technology, which I think brings them almost over 1 million transactions per second. They're going to outcompete everybody, and no one's talking about this stuff. It's all there. This is just my opinion. Again, guys, do not trade on this. Do not, take this as financial advice. But I do think that by the end of 2023, Stellar's going to be able to get to about 30 cents. In the summer of last year, it was hovering around 20. So I think with the positive sentiment with ISO 222, with CBDCs becoming more mainstay, and Stellar having one of the best chances to get tapped as being a financial backbone, I think 30 cents is pretty reasonable. I think 30 cents could happen by the middle of this year if everything goes well. Like if we stay in this bull market sentiment, 30 cents should be easy to take down by the end of 2023. That's very conservative. It could be higher. Going into 2024, if everything's still going well, getting closer to the Bitcoin halving, still in a bull market, and there's a lot of development on the Stellar blockchain, I think it's possible to get to $2 and $3 by 2025. Now, these could go potentially a lot higher. There's no reason it can't. I think the all-time high for Ripple was like 350. And that was with no volume in the very beginning in like 2017, early 2018, when Ripple was nothing. Look at what Stellar is today. Stellar could easily be $3.50. So I think these are very reasonable over the next couple of years if the trend continues, if we've bottomed out in the market and we're going to have this huge turnaround. So keep that in mind. That's just my opinion. Make sure to like, comment. I want to hear your opinions on this stuff. I want to know what you want to learn more about next. And I want to know your thoughts on Stellar Lumens. Let's do this together. And be sure to subscribe if you have not already. And be sure to check out the podcast. The podcast is a fantastic place to learn about crypto, blockchain, Web3, and everything under this umbrella. And if you haven't, we've interviewed, the Stellar Foundation twice on the show. Go back and find those episodes. They're fantastic. Anyways, guys, talk to you soon.